This is the semblance of my own personal opinion and not your own, not anybody else's. Or mortified to just get hate on a fucking grown adult woman with a child and a husband. Just depicting my opinions as such should go into the point of why I think a person does or does not suck. Deal with it. Other than that little, uh, just that little, you know, viewers' discretion is advised part of the video out. That was just a clear warning to just tell you today we're going over Becky Lynch sucking. Understanding this is like the way of pro wrestling now. It's either you're just a good wrestler with a bare minimal personality, with like the minority of the fan base thinking that you're a likable person means you're over. It's horseshit to me. It's honest horseshit. Becky Lynch came back at SummerSlam to the bare minimal fanfare when people are hyping over, oh, what's gonna come over Punk? Anything that happened at SummerSlam. Punk got the bare minuscule viewership back at Rampage, All Out, the other Rampage, Dynamite. The most they were averaging was a 1.2, and these are the same people that hype over getting higher ratings than WWE's developmental show. AEW and Tony Khan's full of shit. I don't care what anybody says. They can push over that they're hyping over. They're getting ex-WWE guys over, and the only thing extorting that they wouldn't have dropped a dime if this was made in 2005. Honestly, just pushing over the factoid that like people like Becky Lynch still exist in this business is mortifying. How nobody, you can't profit off a person like Becky Lynch. She, don't get me wrong, she's possibly a nice lady. I'm not like questioning her as a human being or as a person. She is just not fucking good at all. Like in pro wrestling, like I have seen over the last couple of years, I saw her as the man. You're the man of what? Is this like the shocker symbolism of how women have to get over in the business to even force feed why they should main event more than the men? Why they should have the same match concepts like the men, the same time limits as the men, the same match stipulations, the same caricatures of men wrestlers, because they can't think of their own creative gimmicks or characters to get over. Why even making a pay-per-view where somehow we had the hottest amount of in-ring talent in women's wrestling at the time, had their own pay-per-view in Nassau Coliseum, lowest drawing next to December to Dismember. That sack of shit. Next to fucking Stomping Ground, where there was more tarps than fans in the nosebleeds. Becky Lynch couldn't even make an exceptional main event thanks half of the match was consistent of two women getting injured in a botch. Multiple. So there. Becky Lynch, you are now in the list of the first woman to ever main event WrestleMania. And then forget that WrestleMania match even was there when there was like 30-something others that were more memorable. You suck. Just given that I can't remember a simple promo other than you insulting Edge's neck. That's about it. There's no mimicry to be had when it comes to behaving like a pro wrestler. The problem with today, there's nobody to mimic. Back in the day, you can pretend to be Triple H, you can pretend to be Kane, you can pretend to be Undertaker, Rey Mysterio, Randy Orton, John Cena, Hulk Hogan, Steve Austin. There's somebody over the original persona of a person. He's their character. You can pretend to be like them. You can make scenarios. What scenario are you going to have with Becky Lynch other than her pegging her husband and then getting him pregnant, and that's why they have a child? Understanding, like, just the sentiment of why in the fuck this is even, like, a thing to be, like, told all over pro wrestling of like why she's good, and nobody can give me like a distinct reason other than she had a good match. She was over because fans. If you're from NXT and if you don't get over in under a year, you're just gonna get buried. There's no farming system. There's no development. It's just force feeding because they know fans have less of a patience than over 10 years ago. Took Stone Cold Steve Austin, like he debuted like back at 90. He started like being the ringmaster like in 95. He didn't get over until 97. He wasn't a megastar until 98. That took time. Becky Lynch has spent, I don't know, since 2015 and she still isn't over. She tries to now push over that she has some charisma now. Bitch, you're not shit. Same thing with the rest of this women's division. Ripping off men gimmicks, no charisma, barely forgettable matches, try to look like men. Becky Lynch just sucks. Her submission sucks. The disarmer. Get it? Because it's a double entendre and it's bad. It's a basic armbar that she doesn't even scissor her legs to make sure that it's more difficult to get out the hold. Kurt Angle, whenever his opponent reaches the ropes for the first time or escapes, he scissors his legs to make sure that the hold is more difficult to get away from. It's small little things like that that make an ankle lock still a most used move in pro wrestling. The only person with a vagina that I know that still uses the Fujiwara armbar in like some semblance of a ways of submission hold is like MJF, and that's technically it. Like at least MJF has like fan reaction. I understand MJF kind of declined quality wise when it comes to his promos back, but like there's at least patience to have with MJF. MJF has the crowd. He can talk. He has he has an old school way of thinking, and he can adapt his career like that. That's fine. Sure. Same thing with Corbin. I fucking hate Corbin, but he adapts to characters. He takes response. He takes like he takes critiques well, and he seems to be a serviceable worker. I feel like he ain't shit, and I still reside by my video, but I can understand why he's still hired. Becky Lynch is a person that you like in doses. She has forgettable matches that you can't remember unless you involve the other four horsewomen. The women that are not even part of the four horsewomen get better matches than him. Asuka gets better matches than her. Uh, she was kind of more of a highlight in the matches involved with her. So is Natalya, so Charlotte, so is Bayley, fucking Dana Brooke. Like there's just there's women more attractive than Becky Lynch. What part of profiting do you have over a weirdo she-male that doesn't even behave that over as a tomboy? Especially if that tomboy's not even that cool. What are you, like 30? What what part of this, like, you're screaming over as a character? What is the man supposed to fucking mean? I'm not like I'm just upset why this lady like scraps over TV time. When not even like non wrestling fans will turn around and be like, "Oh, why is this woman on the screen?" Becky Lynch isn't a person that's eye catching to see on TV. She's a weirdo redhead with a thick accent with no basis to stand out, and especially on TV, you need to stand out. If you look at Kane, you see a 7 foot big man, long hair, giant mask that's told to have burn marks and puts people on fire. That's gonna make you feel like, oh, what the fuck are you watching? I want to see. That's a person that you want to show on TV. Now, I'm not gonna try to always be demeaning and be like, oh, the women's division is like the only reason they're ever gonna be a draw is ever they show tits, and it's probably right because sex sells. Like it's a harsh side of life, but why else do you want to buy a car? Why else do you want to buy a video game? Why else do you want to buy clothes? You can hear the weirdo in the back go over what materials are used, what fabric are they made, or where they came from, or how it even performs. You look if it looks nice on you. or it looks nice, or it's just nice to look at in general, you're gonna get it. You're gonna watch it. You probably want to show more to see it and make sure it looks different. That's the point. Becky Lynch isn't one of those things. And sure, I'm ragging on it, bro, but like I'm sick of the tide of like this woman, all because it's of this modern day, they're forced over to the Mount Rushmore of anything, just because how desperately booked they are. Because Vince obviously is struggling to create any semblance of a household talent that will ever get over organically, and Becky Lynch is part of this now. That I have to compare her to women like Sunny, uh, Trish Stratus, Sable, women that actually caused WWE to get more popular over their rejuvenation period from the New Generation era. And now we're in like these people get like all most of the women get mega praise, even though we get lower ratings or near lower ratings in the New Generation era. Nobody's getting this for their thick skulls because pro wrestling's more accessible now. Like I'm just a bit confused why people think Becky Lynch is that cool. She gets average match. She gets an average technician. Nothing makes her stand out. Her wrestling doesn't make her stand out. Her character is like if you want to make yourself a tomboyish, rebellious gimmick that rips off Stone Cold Steve Austin, by means, there's been stuff like that before. Moxley doesn't. The only thing is he at least behaves like he wants to kick your ass. Becky Lynch just is just, oh, we're gonna fight in the ring. I don't care who you are. We're here in South Carolina. And no one behaves like that. She is just so bare bones of a character. And the worst part about this is probably she's probably gonna main event more than the guys that you actually like Rick Boogs, like Bobby Lashley, like Roman Reigns, like AJ Styles, Randy Orton, guys, John Cena, Edge, Seth Rollins, guys that actually draw, and even women that are more interesting than that. Alexa Bliss, get that dumb gimmick away from her. She actually is a compelling person. Bianca Belair, even though I feel like she's dull, she looks like a star. Charlotte Flair still has that name value. Toni Storm, make her the tomboy babyface top girl. She looks like it. I'm not just saying that because I'm looking behind her. She actually looks like a person that you can get behind. These are people that you should be profiting up, appealing to the eye. People when you turn on the TV, you got a Fox or USA. It's like, oh, I need to watch this. What's happening? Becky Lynch is just so fucking dull. You can't memorize a quote or memorize a cool thing that she did that was specifically badass over the man persona without referencing that she accidentally got punched in the face by Nia Jackson, bled her nose out, and then was out and then automatically turned babyface. What part of that means you're over? What part of that is being cool? I don't get that. I don't get that mentality. Comes over 8 seconds, destroys Bianca Belair, and no one cares. She was out for like a year and a half after WrestleMania. What, 35? She's been gone. Comes back at SummerSlam this year. Bare minuscule pop of a return like that for a long reigning Raw Women's Champion. Lesnar comes back. Fans were hyped. If you tell me that you ever cared about Becky Lynch, you're either lying or you only know people that have that type of opinion, not you. So I don't want to hear this bullshit anymore. It gets annoying to hear over that Becky Lynch is a greater wrestler than any other female doing it. Thunder Rosa doing it. Tessa Blanchard. Toni Storm. Bro, she's not even the biggest draw. I don't get this. Sure, if you're a fan of her, by all means, enjoy yourself while she still has a career. She's probably doing the best you've ever seen. But for me, I just feel like the company can literally survive without her. And they know that. Just look at the releases they have, and they're still making that much money. And until they know that they're that much of a big draw, Becky Lynch will be released and probably go to ICW or something, and she'll get as much of a pop as Grado, if you still remember who that guy is. But yeah, that's it for me. Thanks for watching. I don't want to hear this bullshit anymore. I don't get why this chick still gets screen time, and she just does nothing to ever exceed the product. Make it look different. Every time she shows up after a pay-per-view, it doesn't change the atmosphere of the show. She has no persona except she calls herself the man. That means she's more outspoken than she is with that steampunk gimmick she had and that river dancing gimmick. Either way, every persona of her sucks. You can't make a character. You can't, bro. She's just awful. But that's it coming from me. Thanks for watching.